Test one two. Test one two. What the fuck? Oh. Okay. Perfect. No, it's on. It's on. It's on. Okay. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Shah. Blah 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 blah. Today, important topic is the Diddy trials. Is the Diddy trials, my nigga. So I heard about it scrolling on TikTok. I was just scrolling on my phone. Heard about day one. Heard it was pretty hectic, pretty live. There was something about golden showers. So we're about to check out what was going on. Join me for the ride as we react to the Diddy trial. Let's get it. Hey, uh,
Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here. Charles here. The Diddy trial is underway. There have been opening statements, and there is now testimony in the case. And the opening statements kind of predictably laid out the prosecution's case and Diddy's defense.
But what the prosecutors started with a bang, with a statement that clearly they knew would get a lot of headlines, but more importantly, get the attention of the jury, talking about details, graphic details from the freak-offs. And
we should warn the people watching this, this is going to get graphic.
Right. There's a reason that they last week kept saying that to all the prospective jurors, it will be graphic. What was said this morning by the prosecution said that Diddy hired escorts for these freak-offs, and that it wasn't just sex. There were other acts that were going on. The one they said that really got everyone's attention, they claimed that he hired escorts, on one occasion hired an escort and forced him to urinate on Cassie. And that he forced not only the escort to do this, but Cassie is the way the government lays it out.
So,
my bad. Bro, how are you gonna get you a, like, did you all see Cassie? Hold on, spin back. Hold on, spin back. Oh, not the volume, bro. I meant the picture. Look how bad she is. She is bad as hell. And he took this lady at whatever young age she was and had grown folks piss on her, giving her a golden shower. My nigga, you're tripping. You're losing it. You're losing me. Like, make it make sense, bro.
Cassie is the way the government lays it out.
So we talked about this in our morning meeting today. So let's just be real here. This is shades of R. Kelly. And that's
the reason they brought that up first.
I mean, I don't think there's any question that R.
I think it said shades of R. Kelly
paints a picture that kind of resonated with everybody. And the prosecution came out of the gate with something that sounded similar.
They want to show him, they want the jury to see him see Diddy parallel to R. Kelly, who everyone knows is going to be in prison for almost all the rest of his life.
And so,
but it's like, sorry, I'm gonna stop pausing, but like, it's a good thing because we're stopping a bad person, but having this connected to the R. Kelly, is it like, are you doing it because of piss, or are you doing it because he's black? You feel me? Or it could be both, but like, the fact that him being black can be roped into this, and R. Kelly being black, is kind of like, it's a bad view, because if you think about it, right, if those two parallels start like getting drawn together, it's like, bro, people are gonna think every time a black man gets a lot of money, if he gets a little bit too famous, a little bit too good, then immediately we're gonna start looking at him a different way, because it's like, R. Kelly was pissing on girls, and so is Diddy. So it's like, tying those two together is not exactly the best idea, in my opinion. You can draw references, but I think tying them together and looking at those two pictures side by side is kind of unfair for the black community. Just saying.
And so if you got him convicted,
of course, and that's,
you want it, right.
And that's effective.
Yeah.
They also, and I think this is going to become a really important part of this case on both sides. The prosecution painted Diddy as a violent, jealous man who could not handle any attention heaped on Cassie by any other man.
Damn.
Right. And that was part of their argument around the videotape, which obviously they mentioned as well. They talk about that beating, and the government was setting up what they know that Diddy's side is going to say. This was.
I
Hello?
switched from due dates to due dates, and it made me go
Whoa,
from weeks
my
behind
God.
to weeks ahead of my deadlines.
Hey, you know what?
Not
While we're here, I'll say it, bro. Diddy, she bad as hell, bro.
about forcing her to stay.
I'll take
This
it from
was an
here.
argument about
I'll take it from here.
jealousy, about she thought I was,
Yeah, but-
found another phone number. So the government is trying to rebut that already. Right?
Well, yeah.
Saying,
I'm gonna cut this
the
out,
defense
yo.
already came out of the gate in that Diddy is a violent man. They said that he has a huge anger issue, controlling his temper.
They said there's domestic. Yes, they said yes, there was domestic
That's
violence.
the key. That's the key. They are saying that this relationship was steeped in domestic violence. And they're alleging on both sides it was the nature of their relationship. Now, domestic violence is a crime, but it's a state crime. He's not being prosecuted
That's not
for
what
that.
he's being prosecuted
So
for. And they
that's
also
where,
reminded the jury of that.
and that's why they're raising it right now. They're saying, look, we're conceding it. There was a lot of domestic violence, they say on both sides. But if you want to target Diddy for a domestic violence abuser, guilty as charged, it's just he's not charged here. This would have been a state crime. It's not your job. Right. So they're coming out of the gate trying to diffuse what they know is coming next, which is the Cassie video.
Right.
Yeah, and look, I think that's a pretty sound strategy to basically concede on the issues that they can't really win. There was some violence. That video tells a pretty vivid story, but that's not what he's on trial for. However, I think the prosecutors have a pretty...
That leg work is crazy. That Cassie, damn, he was dragging that girl, bro. Shit, man. I want to see what we doing all this for, bro? And some funny ass socks, man.
interesting case. It sounds like they're
He was
sort of
kicking her?
kink-shaming Diddy about his private
Dragging that
Further you get
girl.
away from the norm, where you have escorts who are saying that they were maybe ordered to urinate on Cassie, it starts to look like it can't be consensual. And that's what they want to convince the jury, is that no one wants to be urinated on. So saying these were consensual terms of a relationship gets harder to believe to a juror once you've established that he's doing things so far outside of the norm.
Yeah, and so, you know,
I want to get pissed off. Nah. I'm bullshitting. I'm lying. I don't want to get pissed on, bro. Calm down.
defense said essentially, look, this is his lifestyle. This is his life. And
But if you're down, let me
they
know.
are essentially trying to go inside Diddy's bedroom to prosecute him when they couldn't get him elsewhere. It's stunning to me that this parallels exactly what one of the lead lawyers, Mark Agnifilo, told us in our documentary, The Downfall of Diddy. I believe it was the second installment. This is what Agnifilo said, and they presented essentially this to the jury.
Let's switch our focus to the government. In my opinion, I'm just going to say it the way it is. No friend historically of the successful black man, okay? None. And they start making this case, in my opinion, as a takedown of a successful black man. Here's a man who has made some of the most important businesses owned by a black man. Run, owned, created, founded. The vision was that of a black man. What have we done? We have reduced him, not everyone, but a large amount of our society, to being a monster.
Bitch, please. What the? That was a rate that shit. That was like a 3 out of 10. I'm not gonna lie. That was not my best pick, please. Anyways, bro, he just spamming the word black man to try to really like make us forget about how terrible of a person he is. Just because a person is black doesn't mean they're great. And just because a person is black doesn't mean they're bad. That's what the fuck y'all are not getting. Just because I'm a black person does not make me inherently evil or whatever you want to throw at me, like, oh, he's rowdy, ratchet, whatever the fuck you want to say. Just because I'm black doesn't make me that. But just because I'm black, it also doesn't mean that it's an automatic defense against anything wrong that I can do. Oh, this guy shot another person. Damn, y'all just pinned him as a bad person because he's black. I mean, yes, there's other things to it. Like, depending on which topic you're talking about, it could be due to some systemic racism or some things that were predisposing a person to certain things. But this is not, he was not predisposed. Well, he might have been predisposed to some shit, but that's besides the point. He did those things. He abused that girl. She's a black girl too. Are you going to say that, like, she's not a victim because she's a black girl? Or are you going to say, I don't know, because y'all be shading on black women a lot too. So, but like, you can't just throw the word black man and expect us to be like, whatever he did is okay, because this is a systemic thing. He was rich. He was throwing money around to hide shit, bro. Think.
That should make us shake in our boots.
Everyone says you can't earn a respected bachelor's in business online.
You're
Like
getting
said,
cut out.
GU, they offer degrees in finance.
So
Yep, and that's
he went
essentially
on.
what Tony Garagos
Actually, I might
said
go no
during
edit
the
and just
opening,
post this.
that this is that she said the government has no business in his bedroom. They have no business judging him or trying to charge him with crimes based on how he lives his life consensually in his bedroom.
So there are three main charges here. There's racketeering. The difficulty prosecutors have in this case is racketeering is usually an organization. This one, they're focusing on an individual. The only person charged with racketeering is Diddy.
Right.
And they're saying essentially he ran a crime organization centered around all of this. The second thing they're arguing is this interstate transportation, which is what we call the Mann Act, which requires force or coercion or duress. And that's going to be a huge point that the defense is going to raise, namely that did these alleged victims who were ex-girlfriends, most of them, did they do this consensually or were they pressured to do it?
Well, the prosecutors did talk about that, not so much with Cassie, but with another ex-girlfriend who they're referring to as Jane Doe, and they said that she is going to testify that she was, having sex with these escorts, but she always wanted them to wear condoms, and Diddy forbade that. Said they are not going to wear condoms, and she says that she admits taking drugs, and she's going to testify to that, but that she is going to say that she only took them to get through it, because this was not something she really wanted to do, and that Diddy was, there's the
Point blank, period. It was unconsensual to some degree. Obviously, there was coercion because she didn't want to do it. Some form of coercion. Somebody was making her do it, or the fear of what would be the repercussions to not doing it. Like, bro, that's already one case done. I got it right here. Judge Shaw, bro. Judge Shalom on the case.
the coercion that the government needs to show the jury. So.
But the third one is this interstate transportation of a sex worker, which doesn't require fraud, duress, or coercion. That's the one, in a way,
They kind of got him on.
yeah,
Because he's admitting that.
Well,
he's admitting.
But you know what the issue is? The issue is, are these sex workers?
Right.
And that's going to be a big part of this, because if they are sex workers and the jury believes it, and they did cross state lines, he's going to have a tough time with that third charge. But the argument they're going to make is these people, they were men, were not sex workers. That's going to, again, this is going to get
then the definition of what makes and
what makes somebody a sex
and
worker.
is that are one of those sex workers, one of the escorts, going to be testifying for the government, saying yes, I was a sex worker? If they have that,
our information is that we know of at least one person who has been subpoenaed, who they say is a sex worker. This guy says he wasn't a sex worker, although concedes that he was in that room having freak-offs with Cassie, as Diddy watched. So that, there are three very different charges here, and they're all going to be kind of intermingled in terms of the testimony, but ultimately the jury is going to be told, look at this, here are the elements, look at this, here are the elements, and look at this, here are the elements.
By the way, just a couple quick things, a little bookkeeping. The jury that was finally seated this morning, 8 men, 4 women. Reportedly, the 8 men are split evenly, 4 men of color and 4 white men. and the women are all women of color. So interesting. We'll see what that does. And Diddy's, we should also say Diddy's family, his kids were all there. I don't know if they're going to be there every day, but all of his kids, the twins.
I heard they all walked out the second they started talking about that nigga. Damn, that nigga in the back buff as shit. Oh my god. Anyway, I heard they all walked out when they started talking about that like piss shit. I know I'm swearing a lot. I'm sorry, but like the second they started talking about him being in a corner, getting cut while he was over there beating his meat while his girl was getting peed on, I heard yeah, they all walked out. And my opinion on that is I think they should have stayed. If I was Diddy's son, thank God I'm not. But if I was his kid, I mean, not if I was his kid. Obviously, if I was his kids, I would have walked out. But if I was part of his family, still raised by my dad, let's say, and I was at that trial, I would stay. Because the way I was raised is justice, bro. Don't matter if we're related. What you did was wrong. I would have stayed. I would have listened to that trial, and I would have judged you in my heart based on what I heard from a judicial standpoint. Don't matter if I know you or if I don't. What you did is what matters the most. And that's just life. I heard they all walked out. And they're my age too, which is crazy. I can't believe they're that rich at my age, bro. Like this up, sub up, bro. I'm trying to get my money up. Shit, I'm going to have more money than Diddy. And I'm actually going to help the black community. See?
His sons were all there.
And before
court
started today, he was in court reading a Bible.
Yes, and actually, I just saw a report that says that he has been at every opportunity reading that Bible while he's in court.
Hi, it's Tasha from Brooklyn. And I mean, we've moved past the 6-pack of white women on the jury and we've arrived at 8 men and 4 women. So I still think there's a big bias here, especially if the defense is mounting this narrative that, on some level, boys will be boys. Like, we can maybe allegedly commit domestic violence, but we also have our kinks, right? And I think that naturally will lend itself to some more sympathy from the male perspective, if I had to be honest. But I'm also honestly very surprised that the jury won't be sequestered, given how much information is out there.
You hit on something, because I got to tell you, I don't know how this jury avoids social media. You open your Facebook page and boom, there's a feed.
I don't know how exactly. If they go onto social media, they're going to see something about the trial. The judge has said they are not to watch news or
impossible
or use the internet.
It is
how is
just impossible for a 9-week trial. That is going to be the biggest hurdle to avoid a mistrial. Okay, we're going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, they are.
Hey, fuck it. Just lie you ain't seen that news, bro. Just lie and say you ain't seen that news. And fuck it, you ball. But yeah, I might drop a part 2 to this because obviously there's gonna be more coming out. So stay updated on the channel. Ring that bell if you need to, so you can come back if you found me funny or anything. That would be kind of. There's no attack in boxing safe. Or the fuck. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna drop some more on this. The more news that comes out, I'm going to drop more. I might watch a 44-minute video and then split it in more parts. So just stay updated. Stay updated. Like up, sub up. Much love. Au revoir. Toodaloo.